The biggest threat to living a life of purpose, passion, and authenticity is oftentimes your own family. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. I want to let you know that I am here for your support. Those of you who are struggling through a toxic relationship of any kind right now, I do take one-on-one appointments down in the description box. You'll find access to my calendar where you can schedule some one-on-one time with me. Now, this message we're going to be talking about here is largely connected to an ancient story of a man named Abraham. Abraham believed that he received a word from God that said, Abraham, I can use somebody like you. I can use you to become a father of many nations. I can use you to fulfill a purpose and a plan that is amazing. But here's the deal. In the story, the deal was this: Abraham, in order for me to use you, in order for you to live this life of purpose, in order for you to do this great thing, you have got to leave your family. You've got to leave your dad and your mom. You've got to leave your brothers and your sisters. You've got to leave the whole town behind you. And the question is, why? Why is this part of the story? Why is it so important? Why is the deal that God can use Abraham only if he leaves everything that he was raised with behind? And this is where it relates to you and where it relates to me and our understanding of family. You see, in the story, God could not compete with Abraham's family. Let's talk about the role of parents. Let's talk about the role of family. The role of family is to raise, to guide. It's a responsibility that's supposed to only be a very short time. It's full of things like, don't touch the electrical light socket, right? It will give you a permanent new hairstyle. Don't walk across the street without looking both ways. The role of responsibility of family is to be able to say in adolescence, do this, don't do that. Do that, don't do this. But watch this. What happens as the years go and it's no longer adolescence, you're no longer a child. That dynamic of the family relationship never goes away. Instead of don't cross the road without looking both ways, it turns into, you want to be an artist? Don't do that. There's no money in that. You want to travel? Don't do that. That's a waste of your time. You see where I'm going? And because you're brought up in the responsibility role of the family dynamic, you still listen. And as a result, it robs you of knowing who you are. It robs you of living a life of purpose, of finding your own true calling, of finding your own identity in this life. Now then, there's two main reasons that I've come across that people stay associated with their family. And I deal with people all the time who are trying to break free of toxic relationships with parents, with siblings. And the two main reasons come down to this. One, the possibility of an inheritance. This is a real thing. Well, Kevin, my family has money and I'm afraid that I'm not going to be a part of the inheritance and I'm not going to get anything. Listen, if this is the reason you're staying attached to a toxic family, I want you to understand something. What's really happened is they bought you. That's what you're saying. They've purchased you. They purchased your right to be free, to find your authenticity, to live a life of calling. You might as well call it just blood money. You're owned. This right there, by the way, is the origins of being objectified. Objectified by your own family members who have turned you into a tool, an item for possession by purchasing you. That's what you're saying. And as a result, you're saying, I'll take the inheritance and never live a life of a calling, never find a purpose, never find a passion, because instead I'm bought. I'll take the money. And listen, if that's where you are, if that's what you want, then by all means go for it. But a lot of you right now are questioning that. Is that really what I want? Do I want to be bought by a family and not have my own life? Listen, the only inheritance worth having is an inheritance that's unconditional anyways. I have children. My goal in life is to be able to bring up an inheritance for my children, no matter what they do, even if they leave and I never see them again, that inheritance will be theirs. Because I understand the principle that children are a temporary responsibility for me. Yes, I'm here to tell them not to cross the road without looking both ways. Yes, I'm here to tell them not to put their finger in the light sockets, but I am not here to tell them once they are of an age where the Lord takes over and starts to speak to them and say, I can use you. I want to do things with you. I have a calling for you. It is no longer my place to stand in that way and say, don't do that. You're wasting your time. Does this make sense to you? But the inheritance will always be there. Even if they leave and I never see them, that inheritance is theirs. That's the only inheritance worth having, if you ask me. The other reason people stay attached to toxic family dynamics is like an inheritance, but instead because of a lack of love, because of a lack of acceptance. This gets into the deep area of toxicity and dysfunctional family dynamics. Being brought up in a family where the parents neglected you, never gave you the attention, never gave you the praise, never gave you anything. And just like money, they have conditioned you to believe that it's there for you as long as you stay with them and do what they say. So this is the worst reason to stay involved with the toxic family, because at least with the inheritance, at least you're hoping to get a payout that you can use. When it comes to having acceptance and love being held over your head, there's nothing there. It's fake, it's facade, because if they had the love and acceptance to give you, they would have given it to you even when you were younger. So to stay in a toxic family for the hopes of getting paid with love and acceptance, that's the worst thing to do. You're better off cutting those ties, realizing that your parents never had it to give you, that they were bankrupt emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to begin with, and that you'll never get a payout. And instead, look towards a future of purpose and of a calling that perhaps a higher power, perhaps God wants to call you into. I hope that this message reaches some of you. It's deep. I understand this. It's painful. But there's truth in it. I want to be a part of your healing journey. Down below in the description box, you'll find access to my calendar for one-on-one appointments. FaceTime, WhatsApp video calls are available. Text message consultations. It's all available for you down there. Also down below, you'll find access to Royal We Fellowship every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock a.m. and Royal We Live Chat every Monday night at 9 o'clock p.m. And I'll be back with more videos for you right here on the Royal We.